Welcome back to Lower Keys Living, everybody. We are almost to mini season here. Lobster season's coming up quick, so today I'm going to take you along. I'm going out to a couple of my favorite places to lobster. I usually don't hit these spots during mini season because it gets so crowded. I'll do these regularly throughout the regular lobster season, but I want to take you out. So if you are coming down for mini season, you want to know where to go. Today we are going out to the Gulf side. And by Gulf side, I mean out into the Gulf, not the bays in between, not the Atlantic side, but out on the Gulf. So here we looped around Cudjoe Key. We're going underneath the Kemp Channel Bridge here in between Cudjoe and Summerlin Key. So we're going to shoot on out this way and head on out to the Gulf. I'll show you some spots along the way out here that are great for lobstering. But again, taking you on out here, and if you stay tuned at the end of the video, the last 10 minutes of video, I've got charts out and satellite images to show you exactly where we're at. So here, this is Tarpon Belly Key. This is just out past Blimp Road boat ramp on Cudjoe, diagonally across. Super popular spot, and really some good lobstering in the man-made canal that sits between those keys. So right here, I call this little area Lobster Bay, just my own name for it. But you can see there's dry shelf up here at low tide. I'm in about 4 feet of water and loads of ledges. This place is super popular. So you got Writing Key on the left, that's Sawyer Keys there straight ahead. And if you go straight ahead, that whole bay area in there runs about 3 to 4 feet deep. So ideal to get you out of the current. Where I am right now, the current can run pretty strong at peak tides on their way in and out. But again, this is a really popular lobster spot. There'll be 40, 50 boats out here during mini season. So they're heading on out a couple miles to the east here. This is arriving at the Content Keys. Again, this area and the stretch between Lobster Bay and over here in the Content Keys, this whole area is such phenomenal lobstering. If you're a beginner and you want to just snorkel shallow water, there's loads of areas in that anywhere from 3 to 7 feet deep. I'm anchored in about 7 feet deep water here, and it gets even better if you can dive down and get to anywhere from 10 to 20 feet deep. I come to this spot because of these two massive coral heads. These I know really well. I've got this marked. I know exactly where they are. You can see the fish swimming around these. But I came out here. One, I wanted to show you those. Those are not the primary reason to come out here snorkeling and lobstering in this area. You want all the ledges that I'm going to show you because the ledges tend to hold a lot more lobsters. But I did want to show you the coral heads underwater because a lot of times those will hold lobster. And those two coral heads, almost every time I've come out here, hold some decent lobster. But we'll jump in the water, show you that in just a second. But this is just giving you a little overview of the area. Again, here you can see all of these ledges underwater, and that's in anywhere from 3 to 4 feet deep right there. You want to see all that seagrass around because that's what the lobsters come out. They feed in that seagrass at night. And then as you go deeper, those ledges become more prominent. They really don't stand out from the aerial view here that well. So you can't see them too great in here. But again, this is looking back, and that super popular Content Keys sandbar would be up in the top right-hand corner of the view right here. So again, just panning over, you can start to see some of the ledges there, those coral heads. And one thing you should learn is what the coral heads look like as you're driving over versus just dark patches of seagrass. So it'll help you stop, find stuff a lot quicker. And again, this is just looking to the east. And then I just pan around here. I was trying to get a decent view with the drone of some of the ledges out in the deeper water, but the reflection, there's a little too much ripple on the water to get it. Here's a little bit of a still. I caught this. You can see those patches. It's in about 15, 20 feet of water. There's lots of ledges out there. So again, a lot more lobster, a lot more consistency with the lobster if you can get to that 10 to 20 foot depth, whether you're snorkeling, free diving, or if you are you're just scuba diving. So again, this is the shoreline here at the Content Keys, and it is just all of these ledges. So this is low tide. You can see they're all dry. You can see there's virtually no seagrass on those. So don't come out here at high tide and anchor up on those. You're not going to find anything in there. Come off the shore just a little bit, and you'll be able to find the lobsters in those ledges. So again, these are those two coral heads. You can see that big school of fish swimming here around those. So I'm just going to spin around, give you a little bit more view. So these are all those little ledges and just lobsters in there. So when you come out here on mini season, there'll be a bunch of boats out here, but find your own little spot. It is busy. Make sure you got your dive flag up. Make sure you're anchored really well, and just lock into your spot. And again, just panning back down, I was really surprised because the water looks super clear from the drone. I've got a nice shade on my drone so I can see everything clearly. So I thought when I jumped in the water here, it was going to be crystal clear. So I was a little surprised how cloudy the water was once I was in the water. And you'll see I'm going to jump in the water here, show you those coral heads in just a moment. So there you go. Really, like I said, I was really surprised. I thought my mask was fogged up. I came up, cleared my mask. I was like, nope, it is a little cloudiness in the water. It looked way different. So like I said, I know these two coral heads, and I was really shocked because I have never come out here in all the years of coming here and not found lobster under these two. Whether it's packed with little ones or some big ones tucked in here, but there was just nothing in here today. It's especially shocking since we are outside of lobster season before mini season. It's been the entire off season, so this should have been packed. One of two things here. One, my preferred choice of thinking is that a nurse shark came in, cleaned everything out of here. A nurse shark could get in there, clean all those out, scared them all out, and scattered them and ate them, had a nice lunch. The other possibility is there are a lot of people that poach lobster down here off season. They'll catch them and just hope nobody stops them on the way back in. Unfortunately, we see it all the time. Down here, the sheriff's office posts consistently them catching people lobstering underneath the bridges in close where it's so obvious what they're doing. And if they're doing it there, it just worries me that they're out here doing it when there's nobody else around. So please follow the lobster season rules and take it during season because it ruins it for everybody else. But I'm going to stay on my positive thought and hope a nice happy nurse shark got a good full belly full of good lobsters out of this spot earlier today. So just scooting around here, this area that I anchored in, I did anchor here because of those coral heads to show you, not so much for the ledges. I got to go in a little bit closer, a little further for the ledges from right here. But again, good healthy seagrass. This is like perfect lobster grounds in here. So you should really see lots of lobsters in this area. So again, I was surprised that I didn't see lobsters in there. And again, you see coming up, you can see how clear the camera is, back in murky again. But it was still decent visibility, totally good diving, snorkeling water. But again, I was surprised when I got in because normally when I'm out here, it is crystal clear. I got a feeling the tide was on its way out, coming across the sandbars, heading out to the Gulf. So probably just stuff coming out because tide was still on its way out. But in a few hours, the tide's coming back in, this water will go crystal clear again. So just a little close-up of the bottom. Again, the seagrass. Lobsters come out at night and feed in that seagrass all the time. So just a really good, healthy area for lobster. So this is an overhead view. You can see the boat there on the left. You can see the dry rocks there. Remember, if you come out at a high tide, that water's all the way up to the shoreline. Don't anchor up in there. You're not going to find anything. Here you can see the ledges in the water just off of that. And there's just so many beautiful ledges, and it just goes for miles. So again, here's a close-up. This is low tide. This is what the ledges look like. That is just ideal lobstering ground when you find that out in deeper water. And this next one, this is a shot. This is ideal lobster ground. This is what classic Gulf lobstering is all about. So stay tuned. I'm going to jump into the slideshow here, give you specifics where we're at, how to get out here, and a couple of other little spots to show you along the way. So thanks for watching. Continue watching. Check out the chart and make sure you like and subscribe. All right, let's take a look at where we were at. I'm going to show you a couple of satellite photos, then get some charts out to show exactly where we were and how to get out here. Starting down here in the lower left side of this, you got Sawyer Key. So this is your Kemp channel coming in and out from Cudjoe Key and from Summerlin Key. So you got Sawyer Key, Writing Key, and then your content keys, this area right up in here. And then the first spot I stopped and showed you this is what I call Lobster Bay, just an informal name for it. The little bay right in here, you'll see during mini season, there's lots of people out here anchored up all through here and then across in here, but I like tucking in here. These are great spots, lots of lobster in here, but the current can be ripping mid tides, either going in or out when you're out here. Coming around the corner, get you out of the current, tucking up in here, get you out of the current. Really important if you've got beginner swimmers, beginner snorkelers that aren't used to dealing with a strong current. If you do anchor up out here, you want strong swimmers, I'd put a nice long rope off the back of your boat. So if people start at the front of the boat, they can work their way out, but as they are getting caught in the current, they can grab that rope to pull themselves back to your boat. But again, some good ledges in here. I find it a little bit better out on the outside of Sawyer Key for lobsters, but man, this whole area in here is incredibly popular during mini season. And then where we are anchored up, I was anchored in that video right about in here off the content keys earlier, but this whole section, the whole length of the content keys, even a little further out this way, down in here, great for lobstering. And you can find lobsters anywhere from 3 feet deep, and then it gets really good if you're comfortable going 15 to 20 feet deep. There's a lot more bigger coral heads, some bigger shells at that depth. Whether you're scuba diving or if you're a little more comfortable with your breath control at that deeper water, great lobstering out there. But again, for beginners, or if you're not that comfortable going that deep, shallow water still holds lots of lobster in here. Again, here's a little close-up of Sawyer Key. Those rocky ledges that I showed you off the content keys in an earlier video, they're all run right along in here. In this area, and then this is a combination of little ledges, a lot of grass with holes in it in here, as well as out in here. Again, this whole area is really nice, but again, this area is strong current. If you can get tucked up in here out of the current, better for your beginner snorkelers, beginner lobsterers. But again, great area right in here. One thing I do want to bring up, I get criticized a lot. Lots of people are like, oh, you're not a real fisherman. You're giving away all the great spots. I didn't invent a lot of these spots. I've got my own secret spots, places that I go to where I'm almost guaranteed of getting lobsters. But if you buy a chart, if you look at your Nautil chart, these places aren't secret if you know how to read your charts, if you can read. And I really like these top spot maps. They are great. They've got so much detail, so much information. I really wish, even if you're relying on your Garmin and your Simrads, get these, read the information about the areas that you want to go, because there's so many places that are off limits. There's rules, there's seasons. The backcountry is not wide open year round for where you can take wildlife. So get these. Plus, there is so much information on here. And if you think I'm giving secret spots away, well, I would tell you, Top Spot beat me to it a long time ago. And I'll show you why in here in just a second. But again, this is looking at the chart. Again, they call it Cudjoe channel. I just call this Chem channel because it keeps coming out. But the channel coming out here, you got Writing Key right in here. You got Sawyer Key in here. This little, what I call Lobster Bay, about 3 feet deep at low tide. You got to really circle around and come in here because the 1 foot depth extends way out here along there, but you can get tucked in here out of the currents, and lots of lobsters in here if you can get in here. But again, these red shaded areas are really popular with the during mini season. But again, all the way out here in this nice shallow area, lots of ledges, lots of places for lobsters right in here. All the way out, you can see, you're 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 feet deep. Really good, easy lobstering in this area, even for beginners. And again, because you're not in that channel, you're out of the current here. So what I was said, I talk about when I'm giving away secret spot, I'm not giving anything away. Look at this dashed line right here. And when I turn the page here, you're going to see these arrows in here. You're going to see what these are for. So look at this. Right here, lobster area. It is marked big bold letter, dive flag, clear as day on the chart. This is why I first started coming out here, is I came out to check this area out. And you see this whole line coming all the way around here. Again, for lobstering. And again, great area for beginning lobsters. There's lots of holes. There's a lot of sand flats, a lot of grassy flats in here. You just got to look for the ledges in this area where they're hiding. There are some super shallow spots, but again, really comfortable snorkeling. Snorkeling depth for just about everybody. Water is usually crystal clear in here, so a good, great area to come out from. This particular section, I find, if you can get from 8 to 15 feet deep, if you're comfortable working the ledges on the little deeper water right out here, really much better lobstering, a little more consistent, a little easier to find lobsters. Out here, if you anchor up, expect to cover a big area trying to find things with lobster in it. But again, good lobstering, good safe area for you. And then again, the area where I was anchored up right in here off of Content Keys. But again, this whole section out here all the way across is great for lobstering. But again, this is marked, and there's lots of these on your charts, on these charts that are actually marked. And this is how I started finding stuff. Came out, checked out this area, one of my first trips out here. I was like, okay, this is cool. Found some lobsters, wasn't too bad. But then we came over to explore the Content Keys and look at this area, anchored up. I was like, whoa, way better just down in here. Same thing with the Sawyer Key area. And also you'll see during mini season from right around in here, there's going to be boats anchored up every 25, 50 yards all the way across here. And again, this is that area that's marked as the lobster zone on the chart, right in here. This is the area that I prefer coming out here. A lot more ledges, a lot more opportunities, at least for me, from what I've seen, unless you're willing to go to that 15, 20 foot depth water out at here. Great lobstering in there. But again, beginners all across in here. In that earlier video, you saw those big coral heads that I showed you. Those are scattered out here in shallow water. There are some really big ones out here just off the entrance to the Content Passage right through here, and then again down through here. But again, great lobstering, shallow water lobstering all across here. It gets even better if you can go a little bit deeper. So a couple of things I wanted to show you if you don't have luck, or if you don't want to go all the way out to the Gulf side. A couple of great places. On the video on the way out, I showed you this is Tarpon Belly Key. Super simple to get to. This is Blimp Road, the boat ramp right here. It is right across. A good lobstering in the channel in between there. Look down underneath the mangroves in there. And if you're around the north side of this, there are some rock piles. A little tough to find, but if you search and search, you can find some lobster holes in there. And then further down, your Kemp Channel. I showed you the video coming on the way back in. This area right in here holds a lot of lobsters, especially near the rocky shoreline, but it's a popular spot. You'll see people out here all the time, all year, lobstering. And then there's two other spots tucked in, one right here, another one right here, that I've never seen anybody else in. I've gone in to check those out. And they hold lobsters. They're usually tucked up underneath under the mangroves, but there's a couple of wrecked dinghies or sheet metal stuff down here that you can find lobster in both of these areas, which I'll show you here in just a second. But first, I'm going to show you this up close. This is that road, and here you can see where they poured the rock to build this passage over for the bridge. And you see these rock piles all along in here. It's nice, there's very little current in here. Those rock piles tend to hold lobsters. Tricky getting them out of there. I tend to use the snare on this area because it's so hard to get them out with a tickle stick and get the net over them. Use a snare, and then there's lots of good little holes and hiding places all out in this area. If you want to go out and snorkel around and look for lobsters in here in some nice calm protected water that's close to shore. You can reach this. There's parking right here, fishermen's parking right here by the bridge. You can cross and just go in and snorkel. It's a little tough getting down in here, but you can do it. I've seen lots of people do it. I've come over here with my boat in here, looked around and poked around a bit. But again, you can do it from shore. Now those two spots that I told you, these two channels, probably, I'm guessing, were built. I don't know for sure. They're probably planning on building houses out here at some point. That never happened. This one, tough to see because the mangroves have almost closed off the entrance to this. So if you're coming out here, you got to look close. There's a little indentation in the mangroves out there, but you can come on up and you can get up here with your boat, snorkel in here. Lots of good lobsters in there on the ledges where they cut out. This one is even better. The ledges are cut pretty steep, but there's lots of holes that hold lobsters, and there's some lobsters on the bottom, lots of places in there. This one, you see, it looks like a giant boulder sitting at the top of this entrance right out here. I don't know if it's a big chunk that they put up there, if they built a pile, but as you're passing by, it'll look like there's a small cliff face right there. So easy to find, but a couple places to check out if you didn't get your limit all the way out at the Gulf. Check those spots out if you have time, or if you just want to try something different on an off day. So that's it. That's all I've got for these videos. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and I will see you next week. Next week, we're going to focus on the Atlantic side and places to go on the Atlantic side with your boat for lobstering. I'm going to follow that up with places to go from shore, some new spots. If you want to swim from shore, paddle, stand-up paddleboard, or kayak from shore, great places to get to that almost always have good lobster. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.